This is an opportunity to fill your mind with peace for 15 minutes. Is this what you want to do right now? Can you spare 15 minutes when you don't have to resolve more pressing questions closer to home? If you decide to continue, sit or lie down. Take all the time you need to be comfortable. Be in a quiet place with headphones if available. Begin by noticing what's going on in your body. Is there any place that hurts, even a little bit? Are there itches or twitches, old injuries, chronic pain? Is fatigue tugging at you? Are you restless? Pay attention to what your body is telling you without thinking there's something you have to do about it. Scan your body from the toes, the legs, internal organs, your torso, your skin, your shoulders, neck, your face, your scalp. Notice and acknowledge what's there. Pause playback if you want time to put your attention on any part of your body until that place is satisfied. Stay with it until you're ready to let it go. What is your belief? Can our thoughts and intentions change our bodies? Can thoughts change something outside our bodies? How about if a lot of people have the same desire, the same passion? Can that have a subtle psychological effect that changes our behavior? Or maybe there's something more mysterious than this, a direct impact of thought on reality. Your beliefs are what they are. Acknowledge your beliefs. You've already decided you're going to do this, so let go of expectations. If it works, it will not be exactly in the way you expected. Let's be specific in what we visualize, but recognize that this is just a trick to focus the mind. The universe will find its own road to peace, probably different from what I imagine or what you imagine. The universe will find its own road to peace. You don't have to question whether this meditation is efficacious. You're doing it because it's what you want to do, maybe what you need to do. These few minutes are for your own peace. Nothing more needs to come out of it than your own experience. That's sufficient unto itself, your own peace. If some global situation resolves, you will never know whether your thoughts helped it to happen. Let go of expectations. One more preliminary, the pink elephant effect, as in don't think of a pink elephant. Let's not deny that we're drawn to do this because the specter of nuclear holocaust is closer now than at any time in our lives. We're here because we have thoughts, realistic apprehensions that miscalculation could lead to the unthinkable. What to do when you find yourself thinking about the unthinkable? A technique from Vipassana meditation is useful here. When you find yourself imagining scenes of war, notice that that is what your mind is doing. Remember that you have decided not to dwell on images of war, but don't rebuke yourself. Don't try to put the thoughts out of your mind. Just be aware of what your mind is doing and watch your mind until the thought dissolves. World peace. What do these words mean to you? Conjure positive images, cooperation, communities of people who care for one another, abundance. There's plenty for all of us. Working together is obviously more efficient than fighting. I live in a neighborhood that has been famous since the 1950s as a place where people of different races and backgrounds have decided to share a community. Gay and straight, Christian, Muslim, Jews, and Buddhists old and young, side by side. The world can be this way. Divisions, hatred, exploitation, or artificial. It's our nature to cooperate. We are aware of the violence in human history, all of this in the last 6,000 years. We know little about the history of our species before that. But humans have been on this planet at least 200,000 years. We have hints that they developed technologies sufficient to build the pyramids, Machu Picchu, and Baalbek, equally impressive and mysterious monuments in South Africa, in India, in China, in Siberia, are less well known. There was peace for long parts of that time, for almost all of that 200,000 years. Cooperation on a global scale, thousands of years at a time. We've done it before. We can do it again. Today we have global supply chains, global currency, global communications, global travel. We have international communities held together by the internet, people with common interests sharing science and music, dance and literature. Think of the culture of Russia, how much it has enriched our lives. Tolstoy, Tchaikovsky, the Bolshoi Ballet. Think of the International Space Station, built cooperatively by Americans and Russians sharing technology. Think of the Russian and Ukrainian people that you know in your own life, getting along, enjoying one another, learning from one another. It's not hard. It's not unusual. It's everywhere, every day. People with different ideas, different cultures, curious about one another, welcoming people with different ways of doing things into our projects. We all benefit. Interracial marriages, marriages between Jews and Gentiles, Russians and Americans, blacks and whites, Asians and Westerners. You know lots of couples like this. They're the most adventurous people, or maybe they just were drawn together by love. Their lives are rich because their most intimate experience crosses barriers of culture, open to difference. We learn and grow when we embrace people who think differently from the way we think. It's not just a cliche. You've learned from someone who is Russian or Chinese or Iranian, or a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist, or a Republican or a Democrat, or a communist or a capitalist, or a wealthy tycoon, or a person whose life looks to be materially impoverished, yet has an abundance of love. This weekend hosts celebrations and statements of peace with gatherings in Washington, D.C., Sydney, Australia, Bogota, Colombia, and Wanfried, Germany. Saturday is the International Day of Peace. There are so many of us. 8 billion people on the planet, and 7.9 billion of them are living in peace right now. Not conscious activists, most of them, but with peaceful intentions, walking the walk, living in cooperative communities, caring for their families, devoting their days to service and not hostility or destruction. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962? The phone calls between Kennedy and Khrushchev that resolved a dangerous misunderstanding. Kennedy was a fierce anti-communist. Khrushchev had been ruthless enough to get control of the Politburo after Stalin's death. Yet the two found their way to a trusting relationship. They knew what they must do. They bonded over the knowledge that the fate of the world was in their hands. Just two people resisting generals in their respective war rooms, each of them surrounded by military advisors pushing for nuclear war. Imagine now a phone call between Biden and Putin. Imagine the call coming from Putin. Maybe he starts off with a threatening tone. Maybe Biden blusters in return. Maybe they have translators who have long familiarity with the opposite culture, who soothe them, each of them, into a sense of the weight of trust that is invested in them, the need to work together. It's a long phone call. Harsh words are exchanged. By the end, they find their way to a framework of understanding. They don't settle the Ukraine war all at once, but they agree that they're not going to escalate. They agree that they're going to keep talking. They agree that there's much more to be gained from cooperation than from belligerence. Something happens in this call, something, and the world breathes a sigh of relief. Think of the whales. The whales know a lot about what is going on in our human world. They know that there are humans who have harpooned them, who have set off ear-splitting bombs just for naval experimentation. But they also know that most people are good. Whales appeal to humans when they're caught in nets and need help. People have cooperated to return beached or stranded whales to the ocean, and whales have guided humans home when their ships lose navigation. Whales are as smart as we are and far more intuitive, telepathic. They know what is going on, and they're certainly concerned about our world. They're gathering even now, sharing their intention for peace with ours. There are also ET beings looking out for us. There was a class of school children in Zimbabwe 30 years ago this week. They were visited by ETs who counseled them to care for all life on this planet. Military officers at our nuclear missile facilities have reported several occasions when lights appeared over the missile silos and the launch circuitry was disabled. Perhaps there are beings who are looking out over our planet even now, reluctant to interfere, but willing to use powers that we can barely imagine to keep us from destroying ourselves. Hundreds of times nuclear war has been averted. We don't know how we have been so lucky. Let us be grateful. Think of a time when you have been in nature, marveling at the plants and animals, the mountains and the lakes, the skies and the oceans. We are a part of it. We partake of nature. We were born of nature, and it is nature that keeps us alive. Every summer, the green blossoms anew. It is easy to find gratitude for this garden that is our home. Gratitude. It's all that we need. It's simple. Gratitude is enough. Gratitude for what we have. Gratitude for the lives that we are living, for the people in our lives, our pets, our communities, our families, for the meadows and the forests, and the parks, and the beaches, and the coral reefs. We've been blessed to explore this planet. We will continue to be blessed. We will share our blessings because there's plenty to share. I'm going to stop talking, but you don't have to stop being grateful. Continue to rest here, to relish your own thoughts, enjoying peace of the present moment as long as it feels right.